And we are live. What is going back, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. I'm on the other side because Alex is here. I'm trying to figure out which way it is now. This one. Alex, Leeds, Leicester, 1-1. What's your initial thoughts on the game?
Pretty lackluster. Really not much to like. Really,
Was that a pun?
no. No, honestly, there wasn't really much that you can look at this because it's like a rinse and repeat every week. It's, we're flat, we're not driven. There's no determination or drive really from the entire squad. And, I would say we're lucky to get even a point out of this game. You got Harvey Barnes, absolute screamer. But other than that, there's not much that you could highlight that's a positive in this game.
It wasn't. You can understand that kind of performance once in a while, but it was constant problems. I thought a lot of the time the midfield. Okay, we'll start what we normally do on the formation. So 4-2-3-1. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that lineup? Because again, we did the Leeds preview and we're like, yeah, we're going to set up three at the back, and we didn't.
I feel like our squad seems better when we have two strikers up front. I just feel like that's something that we've really kind of established over the last season, it seems like. And that's nothing towards, both Lookman and Barnes because they're both exceptional players, especially, on the wing. But it just seems like, we tend to have a better opportunity when we have two strikers. So when we didn't have that available to us, I was kind of wasn't really looking forward to it, and it kind of showcased, like I said, Barnes's goal was just incredible. That's a FIFA type goal. You don't score one of those, in real life. So the fact that he was able to do that, but ultimately, I feel like you don't know what you're going to get out of these formations right now. Rodgers just seems like he's just kind of throwing everything into a mixer, and then whatever comes out is what you're going to get. There really seems to be no plan in place.
Yeah, it seems a bit like he's tinkering and he's trying to figure out his best lineup. But again, we've got lots and lots of different kind of formations at the moment. So again, we will take the draw because let's be honest, we didn't really deserve. If they were more clinical, because Dan James couldn't finish to save his life or hit anything on target. I mean, they had a few shots on target. Then Harrison had a miss, and I was like, "That's going in." And then it went. I don't know how that missed. Still don't know how that missed. Then Rodrigo had a sitter as well in the 56th minute, so it could have been a lot worse. So there's some small positives to take from that. I think defensively we looked more sound. However, I think we'll probably talk with the Leeds fans what they thought about that in a couple of days or so. But I don't know. That's how I'm feeling at the moment in terms of that. Just kind of like,
Yeah, it's hard to. For me, it's so hard to actually look at a game like this and be like, "Oh, we're lucky that we got the point because we really don't deserve it." Like that's so hard to look at as a positive because realistically speaking, you know, we didn't deserve that point. Like really, truly, we didn't deserve it. We were fortunate, like you said. Most of the Leeds, players could not hit the broadside of a barn today. They just kept on missing the net, left, right, and center. And like that, yes, that's a positive that we can look at, but that's not something that I feel like even last season that we were like, this is a positive. Usually when we've been analyzing these matches, it'd be like, there's a positive here and there, and it's not that the fact that, the other club can't even hit the net. So that's difficult. Our defense didn't seem as bad, but we are still playing at a rate where, the amount of goals that we're conceding are with clubs that have been relegated in seasons past. And that's absolutely like, that for me, that is a red flag, that if this is continuing, we have one of the leakiest defense in the entire, Premier League. And that's a concern. And, I think the other concern I can even bring up is that we couldn't even string a few passes together. Like that was a concern. Like our possession was, hope for the best, pass it along and do whatever we can in order to get it up the pitch. And, and that didn't even make it to half before Leeds took the ball and was, running down, our end and almost converting another one.
Yeah, and it kind of that's the way it felt a lot of the time where they were going to come at us, they were going to play. And when we got the ball, I think defensively we were. The thing is, it's been improvements over previous times, so I don't want to have a go too much. But at the same time, there was what we lacked in the 4-2-3-1. We don't kind of get this and start to take it forward. There's a lot of things in the midfield where we've got the ability to play through them, but the way they got a lot of the ball in the midfield, and they were overrunning us at times. And one thing I want to come into is something I put at the beginning: Samori as Cam, or the Wilfred and Didi Tillemans Samore. At times they were playing all three of them together, and it's like you could throw a blanket over them. And especially with Samori and Didi, they naturally go towards the same positions. They seem to like getting each other's way a lot.
Yeah, it just seemed, I don't know why. Like we've talked about it before, when Tielemans played with Simare, they seem to really like gel well together. However, I don't know what's going on, but when you look at an Ndidi pairing with Sumare and Yuri playing as a cam role, it just seemed like it was just it was bad. Like, and I tend to never criticize Yuri, because Yuri tends to be like the glue that keeps that midfield together. He had a horrendous game today, and like that's my opinion on that, but like it was a poor performance, and I don't think you could really pick out anyone that had a really exceptional game other than Barnes' goal, because that's how bad it was in my eyes.
Yeah, we didn't really create anything. And just obviously, I was like, we didn't really create anything. We were just saying, I think it's about like a 5.5 out of 10. There was it was an average kind of performance, really. Not even average. It was average for the Premier League, if that makes sense.
I would say it was a below average performance, and a moment of brilliance from Barnes got us a point, and the fact Leeds couldn't finish. Jack Harrison, how he missed that header right in front of goal. I think you give that to him 99 other times, he puts that in the back of the net. So very fortunate there. With the Lookman one offside, the Lookman goal, it was offside. I thought we were going to smash and grab it there, but it was very much like I went into this game saying 3 points and into the international break, and that'll do us. We are so fortunate that we got out of that with a point.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we kind of have to be lucky about. Kind of in the same way, it was similar to the 1-0 that we basically smashed and grabbed against Wolves in the first game of the season. And it doesn't seem like we really learned our lessons as much. But again, I don't know, this phase that I thought we were going through, we were over by Man United, it just seems like it's still there, Alex. And it's just kind of continuing. And it doesn't look like we're really out of it just yet.
No, I don't think our play on the field is the only thing that's going on with this club. I do think that there's clearly issues going on, in other aspects of the club itself, and I think that's all leaking onto the pitch. I feel like I'm repeating everything that I've said, over every international break. Maybe the international break will do us great. Maybe we'll figure this out, and I'm thinking, like, I just don't think that that's what's going to happen. I feel like we're going to get a week off, and we're going to, hope that we're going to fix whatever's going on. But, as soon as we come back from this international break, it's going to be the same stuff that happens. We're going to look leaky. We're going to look sloppy. There's going to be no consistency whatsoever. It's just going to be a rinse and repeat. And, I feel like it's coming to the point where you got to start wondering, we can't keep putting duct tape over, a gunshot wound. Like, because that's basically what we're doing. We're hoping for the best in doing the minimal to fix an incredibly massive issue that I think everyone's is really seeing. But instead of actually, getting into, what we need to do to fix it, it's just patchwork. And eventually the patching is just going to blow up, and it's going to be a wreck. And, I think each week we're getting closer and closer to that.
We're just in a weird spot, aren't we? Because the thing is, again, it was a moment of brilliance with Barnes' goal. So obviously that's fantastic, but we can't keep relying on that. But at the same time, as Alex was saying, it's like the same problems coming again. And I feel weird doing these post matches because I don't want to just be repeating myself every single time. But it seems like the same problems are there. Because even from set pieces, again, we were slightly better, but that's not really saying too much.
I don't even think we were that much better from set pieces. It's just the fact Leeds can't finish from them, because they had 2 or 3 big chances from them. And then if they'd scored that, we would be saying, oh, we're absolutely awful from set pieces. So it's just the fact that they didn't put the ball in the back of the net. We were still allowing them those chances. There was one, I keep going back to it, that Jack Harrison one. Shouldn't you just let him run behind him, like completely unmarked? So I know Brendan Rodgers said that we've got some set piece coach. What are they doing in training? Genuinely, what are they doing in set piece? on set pieces, because you'd think, and I know he's buried his head in the sand and said that it isn't an issue. You'd think the amount of goals and not just goals, but chances we're giving up from corners, that it would be something that's looked at. But I do feel today's slightly different than the problems that we've had before, because I think before we've managed to get the ball to the attacking men, and it's just been about getting the ball into that final third and creating the chances. I think today we just could not get the ball from the midfield to the attack, and I understood the logic of what Brendan Rodgers was trying to do in kick-off when the teams were announced of Samare, Tielemans and Ndidi to shore up that midfield so Leeds couldn't play through us. But they just kept bypassing through that midfield as if it wasn't there. So it was different issues today, but it's still very frustrating. And it took too long for it to be changed, because there was a 15-minute period after half time where Leeds had so many chances, and how they didn't score one of those is, I don't know, because we very much rode our luck for a lot of periods throughout this game.
Yeah, no, we don't exactly. We rode our luck, and the thing is, the stuff I want to keep talking about, but it's like it's the same things again. Even for their goal that they scored, Alex. Arguably, they had that was a harder chance to actually score, but it was a great goal from them. But then, but at the same time, we countered that straight away, which is good to see. But I'm really struggling to kind of know what to talk about, because it's just things aren't clicking. It's like the one thing I've got is that Lookman and Tielemans, they just don't seem to be on that same wavelength as well.
No, it just seems like there's miscommunication across the board. It just seems like no one's cohesive enough. We talked about the midfield. Usually Ndidi and Tielemans are a force to be reckoned with. And they don't even seem like they've been paired well together. They seem sloppy. The wingers look like they're not on the same page. Vardy just kind of seemed lost today. The defenders, they were okay, but there were amount of times that I had to hold my breath because it seemed like they were gonna, bottle a pass or something. It just seemed like everybody, just they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. These are the games that I really look at, and I tweeted it going, man, I really miss James Justin. I really miss James Justin. And that's one thing. But, I look at games like this, and I think my biggest frustration that I see is that we're no longer playing for the win. We're hoping that we can squeeze out a draw. And that is something that I've seen over this, the start of this season into where we're at right now. It's no longer this drive and determination to be like, we know what we are. We can win this game hands down, no problem. Let's go for the 3 points. It's, if we take this guy off, we might be able to edge out and get a point. And that's concerning to me. And, I've read a lot of things on Twitter and, even through the chat today and, other chats, through other, post matches. And this belief that we still have the possibility for a top 6 finish, I love the belief. But for me, the way that my mind is slowly starting to look at is I'm hoping that we can finish mid-table, because the rate that we're playing and the way that we're playing is there are red flags all over the board that if we continue to play like this, we will continue to fall down that table. And that is extremely worrying in my opinion. I could be thinking of this in a completely depressing type way, but that's what I've seen of late. It just seems like the squad just has no drive right now.
Yeah.
It's just sorry, Alex, and you go.
So I was going to say, I agree to an extent. I don't think we'll be looking at a mid-table, lower mid-table finish. I do think that we will go through a period of form where we do pick up win after win, but it seems hard, as you say, so many red flags at the moment of how poorly we're playing. And it's something I said in the group chat and on my preview on my own channel, cheeky little plug there.
Link in the description.
It was about winning those individual battles against Leeds is so important, because they mark man to man. You need to win those individual battles to win the war in terms of being the game. But we lost so many of those individual battles today. We were making it incredibly easy for Leeds to press us up the pitch, because there was no intensity within our passing. There was no sort of drive to get up the pitch. Our fullbacks were pinned back in terms of Ricardo and Castagne. And once they're pinned back in, it's just, we struggle to look like we have an out ball. Vardy was dropping deep to try and help in terms of because we were getting overrun in the midfield at times. So even when we did win the ball back, there was absolutely no one for us to play it to. So we were almost just clearing it just to get rid of it, not to actually build an attack ourselves. So I just thought it felt very chaotic every time we got the ball.
Yeah, no, I get it. And also, to kind of on the back of that, we've seen Brendan Rodgers get it right tactically in substitutes, even if it like half time against like the Arsenal game, he got it right. This time he's kind of we 1 up down, and then he brings off Barnes, who's been basically the only person that really had a chance on goal. And obviously he's in form, so we know if he's in form, he's more likely to score. And then brings on Daniel Amati to play 3 at the back, and you're going, Alex, settling for a draw. And I was like, this isn't the Brendan Rodgers that we know that at times has gone for the juggler in teams and going, right, 1 is not enough. We need 2, we need 3, we need 4, and we need 5. And it just is very strange at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm not on the Rodgers out train because I know that's already started to show. And, and I will say it again, Rodgers is, one of the best managers. It's still, in my opinion, in not only in the Premier League, but in the world. He is absolute high class caliber, but he's got to figure it out. Leicester's paying him the big bucks. This is where, he's really got to sit down and figure this out. And, if he's got to bench certain players because they're not delivering, then do it. We're at a time in the season where I think it's one of those moments where you need to be as ruthless as possible. And if Rodgers needs to bench certain players because he's not happy with their performance, then let it be, because that's where we're at now. It's, just because, X, Y, and Z players are, you're paying them a good amount of money, but they're not performing. Like, too bad. Let's give the opportunity to the more hungry players and the more determined players, because at the rate that we're currently playing, this is going to continue, and there's no simple fix to this matter. This is where Rodgers needs to be a little bit more harsh and probably a little more, forthcoming and being like, this is what's happening. And if you're not ready to play, this is what's going to continue to happen. Because without that, we're going to be talking about this week in, week out, same issues, same concerns, same frustrations, to rinse and repeat. And that's the biggest concern.
Yeah, and we don't want to be having it. And I think that's the thing. I don't want to keep talking about, but it does seem like the same thing again and again. And that's what I don't want to keep coming back to. But it's just so strange because it doesn't look, again, it feels like it feels different to the 2-2 against Burnley. But I think we were kind of a little bit more going, we can make top 6. So how the hell are we playing so bad? This one just seems like everything's drained a little bit. I think everybody's just flat.
The thing is, against Burnley, it was a little bit more of a surprise. This felt incredibly predictable, which is the most frustrating thing. And Leeds, as good as they were today, Leeds have been shocking this season. Let's not kid ourselves. I think they were 17th before this game. So the fact that we've escaped away from Ellen Road with a point from a team that started the day in 17th, it's just not great, is it, really? And the thing is, you want to be positive because there is so much to be positive about right now with Leicester, but performances like that make it incredibly hard to be. And the changes from Rodgers, I actually don't think they are the wrong changes. I just think they came way too late in the game because I think he didn't bring in Daniel Amati on and go into a back 3. Yes, we were still conceding a lot of chances, but we actually got up the pitch more because I think it meant that, as I said earlier, that it allowed Castagne and Ricardo to push forward more and create slightly more. But he almost rolled the dice it almost felt like a roll of the dice to try and smash and grab it instead of any actual belief that like we're coming here to win the game. It was more we're coming here to nick the game, which is why I think he left it so late to change it.
And one of the reasons why we like Brendan Rodgers, Alex, is because of the mentality he brought in. Is we can again, one of his things when he came in was we can challenge for the top 6. We can perform, and we have done for 2 years in a row, and we've won the FA Cup. And it feels like all that, not hard work, but all that thing that we did last time has kind of come to not very much at the moment. It's like the car is kind of stalled and kind of like just slowing down at the road, and even the managers, I think everything is just very lethargic.
It's kind of like it's lost its meaning. Like, as weird as that sounds and as blunt as that does sound, it seems like that whole aspect of belief of we can contend for that top 6 finish. We can bring in trophies. It's like it's lost that meaning, and it looks like the entire squad doesn't know what that meaning is anymore. It's more along the lines of, let's just pull out a draw here and get the point. And it's, there's no fire. Last season, we talk about some of the great comebacks from last season. You look at the Liverpool match where we were down and we ended up coming back and winning by an incredible fashion. We haven't really seen that this season. We've seen that, the Man United game, but that seems like it's been a one-off, and it's between both, the Premier League and, our games in Europe. It just seems like we're watching a different club entirely. And that's the hard. I don't even know how to really put it into words. If I'm being honest, I feel like there needs to be some sort of shakeup, but I don't think that it's removing Rodgers from that managerial position. I just think that there needs to be something that needs to be addressed, because I don't think, and I've said this before already today, I don't think that the play on the field is the only thing going on in the club. I think other things are happening that are bringing everything onto the pitch, and that's the performances that are currently showcasing. It's because there's other negative issues going about within the club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can't really add anything to that. Any final words, and before we finish, because I don't think there's anything else you want to add, because I think I don't know how much more we can go on this, to be honest.
There's a couple of things before that I just want to say. I don't think with Rodgers being linked to every job in the country, that's going to be doing the dressing room any favours, because they're always going to be thinking, well, he's jumped ship once at Celtic. What is he going to do it again? And it's like, yes, he's said he's committed to the cause at Leicester, and you'd hope he would be, but not just Rodgers. I say this with a lot of professional footballers and professional managers and stuff. They say what the fans want to hear, not what's actually the case. So I wonder if there is some players who know something but we don't, kind of thing, about Rodgers' future, which is, I don't want to say they're not playing for them, but they've lost that, as Alex said before, they've lost that intensity and almost fearlessness of what, in that Liverpool game where we went 1-0 down, as an example. Yes, it wasn't the best game in the world and we weren't playing great, but we were chasing absolutely every ball and making it incredibly hard for Liverpool to play that game, and we stayed in it. At the moment, it just feels like we're really going through the motions, and I don't know, just something doesn't seem right, and it's very easy to say Rodgers out. I don't really agree with it. I think it's very much sort of an Arsenal kind of thing, wanting the managers out after a couple of bad results. But it's not even a couple of bad results now, is it? It's more the performances as well than just the results. So it is concerning, and as we've said it every time the international break, hopefully we'll bounce back and come back stronger. We did last time against United, but each week that goes on, as you say, one game, and each week that goes by, that United result's looking less and less impressive. When the fact that they got battered 5-0 by Liverpool, lost to Man City, which fair enough, we're not going to compete with those teams. Don't think anyone realistically expects us to. But the Atalanta game where they're scraping draws last minute against Atalanta, Everton they drew at home to Everton, very unlucky not to lose that one. They lost to Villa at home, and that's Villa's one win in 6. So the more you look into that win that a lot of people have been holding on to, the less and less impressive it looks. And as much as it's brilliant to beat Man United, it's that positive light from that seems to be dimming week by week.
Yeah. Alex, anything else?
Yeah. I hope, oh my goodness. You hope that the international break, they wake up. And I like I said, broken record.
Third time a charm?
Well, you never know, but at this rate, I have no clue. I'm at the point where just start throwing things at the wall, hope they stick, and hope they figure this out. Because at the end of the day, I just don't know what we can do to move forward in this. The only way I can look at this now is well, maybe we can finish mid-table. And that may, for me, I'll take that, because that's how I'm looking at this. It's hard to it's been much more difficult this season to sit down and turn on the TV and be like, I'm going to watch Leicester City play today, but deep down inside going, when are they going to give up the first goal? Are they even going to score today? Oh, we've tied it, but when is that actually going to, when are we going to lose it? It's just it's bad. And, I really hope that, I want that positivity back, not just, for myself to watch that game, but I want that positivity back in the dressing room, because it's clearly lacking. And I think Leicester City supporters, across the board just want something to celebrate, because I don't know about you, but Twitter is depressing.
Yeah. The only thing I can say is Hannah will be doing her show tomorrow for the Leicester City Man City women. So if you're watching, make sure to check out the channel tomorrow. So it'll be live sometime soon. So Hannah and James will be definitely doing that. Apart from that, we've got an international break. There's no more Leicester City to bring us down a little bit. So we'll see again. The only positive thing is that. Oh yeah, yes, we got Canada, and we've got more England, haven't we, Anne? It's just what everybody wanted.
Right. Did you just see the smile on my face when you said that?
Yeah, I smiled because I know how much it would slightly wind you up. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. I know it's not been great, but we try and do what we do. We got some good interviews coming up soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.